RLCS Overtime, your one-stop shop for all things Rocket League, eSports, and RLCS. I'm your host, Wavepunk. Joining me, Gibbs, James. Guys, this tune is bumping. I love this song.
That's a pretty sweet intro. Whoever made it, pay him more.
Sonics, thank you.
Yes. I heard it one time, and I was humming it the whole rest of the day. Like, it's just, we've been sitting here, like, just during the show, just humming it.
We've seen a lot of stuff before the shows. too much stuff.
Yeah. We do get into a lot. We've got a great show in store for you today here. We're going to recap North America and Europe. We're going to talk to Snasky later on in the show, and then Gibbs has got a nice trivia segment for you. It's going to be so much fun. But North America, let's get into the action. It was an exciting weekend here for North America and for Europe. But starting off the day, Genesis versus Atelier. Both these teams looking for their first win.
Yeah, we saw G2 plus Energy both have bye weeks, and Genesis came out on top of that game one, kind of stole it. There was an own goal, plus they only had 4 shots to 10, but they still got the first win, and you're thinking maybe they're back.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty rough start for Sizz, who later on went on to be the player of the week, but it started off with an own goal from him, but Atelier just bounced back. That play from Matt where he jumped off the wall was absolutely nuts. Atelier, right now, they're tied for that, 4 or 3 through 7 spot or something crazy. Yeah. But their offense is amazing. Right now, they are the best offense in the league statistically, averaging 2.5 goals per game.
And plus, they only gave Genesis 5 shots, was the most shots that they actually got in a game, which is not a lot at all when you see a lot of teams putting up like 9 to 10 shots a game. So the defense, too, was phenomenal. Plus, Sizz, he scored the game winner in Game 2. He actually scored both goals in Game 2 and the game winner in Game 4. The pressure from them was really, really good. And Sizz, he came up clutch. Like, we've been giving him some trash talk here or there saying, I don't know if I can trust him. But he showed up big, and he closed out goals.
Yeah, and Turtle's also a big scorer, too. But Matt, this past week, he was averaging 1.75 assists per game. That's a full assist more than anyone else in North America for this week of league play. So on all cylinders, the Atelier offense was just firing.
Oh, there was one play at least with Matt and Turtle where I was more impressed with the assist from Matt, the pass from Matt, than I was from the shot from Turtle. Like, because the pass was so excellent, the shot was super easy. He was up in front of the net, like tipped it away from the defender coming off the backboard. Amazing play from Atelier, and this was their only match of the day. They are now tied 1-2 with 3 other teams in league play, one of which being Genesis, who they now hold the head-to-head tiebreaker over. So what does this mean for Atelier looking forward into the rest of the season?
Well, week 1, of course, they played G2 and, of course, Energy. They played them both pretty tight, and so a lot of people think they might be our 4th best team right now, and they have to keep their heads up. They haven't played SetToDestroy still, so
and everyone
that's
has
looking
been
like
them,
that looks like a free win right now. So they should be pretty confident going forward.
Yeah, it really Atelier, like we're saying, in terms of the strength of the rest of their schedule, they've got a little bit easier route than a lot of the other teams. So they're a good candidate for one of those top 4 teams.
And we'll see. The big test will be how they face off against Selfless, but we'll get to them later. Genesis continued on playing as they went up against SetToDestroy, who have had a very rough beginning to the RLCS here. They are now opening up at 0-4 as they dropped this one 3-0 to Genesis.
Yeah, this one was kind of ugly. It was kind of just Genesis controlling the play again. SetToDestroy sits back just a little bit too much, and against these really good teams in North America, you really can't do that because they don't get enough scoring chances to provide goals for.
We saw it multiple times where they just left 2 players in net and just gave up all that space, and you just can't keep giving people all that space to work with. And really, Lemon Puppy, I believe, was the only player to even get a single goal for them, or maybe it was a pretty rough week for them offensively. And again, they were the only team. Oh no, Halcyon.
Yeah, he scored 1 in game 1.
But they're the only team in either North America or Europe that failed to get a single game win this week in league play.
But the games were close at least. It was 2-1. We had some long overtimes right here with 2 minutes and 33 seconds. So Genesis at the same time, they did win 3-0, but it wasn't too convincing.
Sure.
When SetToDestroy didn't have many offensive opportunities, but their defense has been good. But winning 2-1 every single game is probably not going to cut it later on. Like, you hope that they can pick it up a little bit more.
And it was good to see Genesis get a full clean sweep, a team that we're really hoping can do well. One of the teams that is right now the contender for that 4th place spot, because the top 3 teams are all undefeated, but then there's that 4-way tie, 1-2 score record on the standings right now. So Genesis, one of the teams in the running for that, and they finished off the week here 1-2, dropping 1 and gaining 1. They got their first win. Now they're going to try and just move forward off of that win.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned for them though. Their mentality on Twitter, at least, I think it's a lot for show. But at the same time, when they just say lull, like after a game, like when they lose, it's not the greatest thing that you want from teammates. So I'm a little worried about their mentality going forward. We'll see, though.
All these players that are on Genesis, they have all never been on a solid roster. They have always been team hopping. And then Chrome, if you remember, there was a big fiasco with Chrome when he was on Revival last season where he played all season long, but then came playoff time and there was a scuffle within the team, and they ended up starting Prem, their sub, in playoffs instead of Chrome, who was arguably a way better player, and they they did not perform in that playoff game. And then Insolences again being on Mockit, then Take 3, Classics being on Onslaught, and then Genesis. So all of these players just kind of hopping around, and you can tell there's a little bit of conflict in that team.
Yeah, this is one of those teams where it's very, very. They all know how to play. They are all very, very skilled individual players, but it's almost a leftover story.
Yeah, it's a chemistry thing.
Yeah, exactly. So Genesis, they get the win here. They're going to look to improve on that next week. But moving on, it was Take 3 who was the next one to take on SetToDestroy. SetToDestroy, just such a rough week here as they dropped another series 3-0.
Yeah, they went 0-6. They only scored 1 goal this entire series. They at least got it in game 1, so they didn't keep us waiting. And again, it was Lemon Puppy.
Yeah, Lemon Puppy has been the offense for SetToDestroy, but again, that's not a lot of offense to even speak of. Again, only 2 game wins so far, still sitting at 0-4 in terms of series. SetToDestroy, we're just getting to that point. Will they get a series win?
Yeah.
It seems like there's no chance that they'll be able to get into the top 6, which is what's required to make it to the next step of the RLCS.
But sometimes we see in Game 3 when they play Genesis, they actually did get 10 shots on the board. Here for their Game 3 as well, they got more shots than any of their other games with 7. So it seems like they warm up to the series, but it's like you already played 3 games. You have to come out on fire basically for games 1 and 2, but they're extremely flat coming out. Take 3, pretty simple win for them, and it was a big confidence booster for them because they had a terrible week 1.
Yeah, they needed to get that victory. That was a must-win game for Take 3, and they got it, so they're still in the running. There's still plenty of time left in the season for them to try to finish in that top 6 spot, but again, they were looking a little shaky. They had a great start against Selfless, which we'll see, but sometimes the Take 3 offense can just stagnate a little bit.
Yeah, they were on fire in this series, though. They were able to get the win 3-0. And with SetToDestroy, I want to get you guys' thoughts about this. We see SetToDestroy, they named one of the teams who was able to knock out Iris, or part of the whole situation where Iris didn't make it in to the qualifier. They took that spot. And we're not seeing them showing up on the day here, or showing up on the kind of the consistency that we need to see from a week play, but they showed up on the day during the qualifiers. So if they're able to get that 6th place spot and make it into the playoffs, do you see that maybe on the day we could see them making it all the way to land?
I think it's actually worse for them because then it's a longer series, and I feel like it was a little fluky. Like the one series that we saw in the qualifiers, they play a lot of defense. They had some team pinches that you can't rely on, and that's how they scored their goals. And they won the series with only 5 goals, I believe. So I think it was a little fluky that they did make it here. It seems like they are a little bit outclassed. They're 0-4 right now. They basically need at least 2 wins, maybe even 3 to make it in. So it's not looking good for them.
And during qualifiers, players arguably feel more pressure in the qualifiers than once you make it into league play. You feel a little bit relaxed, you play more relaxed, and a team like SetToDestroy, who's super defensive and relies purely on counterattack, that actually helps them out when a team is way more nervous, because then they don't attack as much and they just play a different kind of game. But once you make it to league play and teams start playing a little more comfortable, then we just see it. SetToDestroy is outpaced.
Yeah.
They certainly are. So, but Take 3 able to just demolish SetToDestroy in that series. They moved on to face off against Selfless, who is a formidable squad right now, absurdly talented, and we got our reverse sweep of the day here.
And we thought that Take 3 might actually show up finally. Like, all right, like a confidence booster of a win. They play Selfless, take the first 2 games, 12 shots in game 1, and in game 2 they outshot Selfless 10-1. Which was incredible. So a lot of people think, oh, look at this, maybe it's a sweep.
In that game 1, we didn't get to see it, but in that game 1, that was absolutely nuts. Where Take 3 was down 4-2, and then they brought it back, forced overtime from that insane Espeon last-second shot, and then ended up taking the win in overtime. So Take 3 had a really good showing. Their offense was looking great this game, but there's just something about Selfless. They're like the leftovers of North America when it comes to winning Game 5.
Yeah, that Game 3, though, was huge for them. They got outshot 10-1, as I said, in Game 2. The Game 3, they outshoot them 12-2 and win 4-0. It's like, we're still alive, we're still playing. They know how to play when they have 2 losses on them, so that's a good confidence boost for playoff time when the pressure is extremely high.
Now, Take 3 is one of the 4 teams that is in that 1 win, 2 loss pack in the middle of the standings right now. And is there a situation where they are the favorites for the number 4 spot?
For me, no, because they still haven't looked that great to me. Take 3 and Genesis, I feel like, are kind of in the same boat where I thought they would do a lot better before.
Sure.
During the offseason, they were playing a little bit better, and they've kind of fell down a bit while everyone else is climbing. So I am more worried about them than Genesis. Like, I actually think that they'll be the ones not to make playoffs.
I think that there's still plenty of time left in league play. If we're going to say the snapshot of how they're playing now, it's not looking promising.
Yeah.
But I've seen how Zane Jackie can play. Like that guy, when he was playing with Rizzo on Take 3, the connection that those guys had was stellar, and he could just hammer shots on net from almost anywhere. So if they can figure out the formula, I think they've got the talent to make a run for it. And like we said, once you make that top 6, you just have to have one good series to move on that day and play well. So I'm not going to count them out just yet, but I will agree that they are looking like one of the weaker teams in North America.
I'm excited to see how they will play moving forward. But Selfless, they had a 5-game series here against Take 3, and then their 5-game series weren't over as they took on the Canadian squad Denial, went the full distance of the 5 games, but they were able to pull off 2 wins here in this week number 2.
And game 5s, if you can win those, it could mean the difference from a top 2 spot or being out of the playoffs. Right now, Selfless is proving that. Denial, like I actually had pinned to win this game because they were looking pretty strong during week 1. They barely lost to G2. Like, it was a 3-0 sweep, but every game was extremely close. But Selfless coming out once again, coming from behind. They were down 0-1 and then down 1-2 and still came back and won the series.
And Dapper and Miho was nuts this week. Some of the shots that he pulled off were absolutely mind-blowing, and I'm sure we're going to see them in the top 5. But those 2 guys, Dapper and Miho, they have so much offensive pressure and just so much raw skill that a lot of times teams just can't handle it.
Yeah, no, we saw the casters were calling this out a lot during their series, that they tightened up their rotations to where Timmy was always in the back, and he just freed up Miho and Dapper to do so much in the front. And it's brilliant to see that Selfless is just so much on fire right now at the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah, we saw Miho plus Dapper both have some solo plays that really helps, because if you can get that one goal, because we've seen a lot of games go 2-1.
Play.
So yeah, that Dapper goal, then the Miho off the backboard, plays like that will get you wins here. And if you're pretty solid besides that, then it might be like a 2-2 series, but that one solo play could throw you over the top.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I want to get your thoughts on Denial. This was their only match of the day, and they took it all the way to Game 5, but as we've seen, Game 5 wins series here, and so Selfless wins it both times. What does Denial need to do? Is they are the 4th team that makes them that 1-2 score margin right now.
I like what they're doing right now. I don't think they have to change much. They probably could have won that series, and I think they know that, so just keep playing how they're playing, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, a little bit more contribution from Sad Jr., I think. I think he's been relatively quiet so far for Denial, at least this week. He did rock the Enzo or Endo? Which
Endo, yes.
Endo. Yeah,
it looked beautiful.
That looked good. His look game was on point.
But there is one problem. I have to say, Corrupted G, his car just looks abysmal.
It looks like a bucket of toxic waste.
Yes,
it's just pure green.
Pirate hat?
Yes,
too?
and the green heat wave. Oh.
Yeah.
All the green stuff.
So
We can take a look at the standings for North America as they stand after 2 weeks of league play here. It is Selfless just crowning the top there. 3 undefeated teams right now in North America. But then the big story right now in North America, that 4th through 6th place spot, or the 4th through 7th place spot rather, of the 1-2 score margin.
Yeah, exactly. Only 3 of those teams can make it to playoffs, and one of them is going to have to play either Selfless, G2, or Energy, so you don't really want that 6th spot either. So it's going to be a battle to the very end.
And we saw it last season in North America. Who made it into the playoffs? It was up to win percentage from the tiebreakers, because so many people were tied at 2 and 6 that it came down to win percentage. So win percentage, we might see that rule come back into play. So if you're not sure what that is, go check rlcs.gg/rules. I think that'll take you right to it.
It's fun read.
Yeah, it's a fun read. There's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, great place to check out Rocket League action if you want to be reading up on it. If you want to be a part of the conversation, be sure to tweet at us at RLCS using the hashtag RLCSOT for RLCS Overtime. It's been fun here. This has been our kind of our recap of what happened this week. And if you didn't get to see any plays, you're like, oh, I want to see the great plays. Don't worry, we got you covered. The top 5's up right here. It's Leaf and Findable Carpet going to take us through the action. Take it away, boys.
Welcome down to the big screen where we have the big action. We have North America to cover right now, and as is the first week, we saw a lot of good plays from them in the second week, and those reverse sweeps were not going anywhere. They were still going off.
I mean, it's not just mechanical ability, it's also your mental ability to stay in the game being able to get these reverse sweeps is a huge key, and being able to see these players make the decisions is a lot of part of it.
Yeah, well, speaking of scene, we have our top 5 plays from North America. And who better start off with than off the top, number 5, we have Miho. This guy was going off. I mean, we talk about duos. It's been stories of duos, and him and Dapper have it going off. To start us off in this top number 5 here, a team play between Miho and Dapper. Miho, beautiful pass off the wall out to Dapper, and instead of rotating back, like you would expect to have a third come in, Miho recognizes the opportunity, slams that to the bottom corner.
And a player we've talked about that might lack some confidence, Espion. Here is the moment he really needed to shine. As they said earlier on the desk, they were down 4-2 in this series. They took this game, and Espion taking that time to make his decision is what got him this goal. He knew that Selfless was in a bad position. The defender, Dapper, in net facing the wrong direction. So instead of panicking, knowing it was going to drop, he waits for it, makes Dapper make the hesitation, and takes the shot.
Trust from Vince there. And speaking of trust, Matt comes in at our number 3 spot in this top 5, forcing the defenders into an awkward spot here, jumping off the wall with a soft touch. He forces that last defender across and then body slams his face down into the net. It wasn't generally the most pretty thing, but it was effective nonetheless.
Speaking of effective as well, the entire Selfless crew makes it up here, plenty on the top 5. And Dapper, we talk about his 1v1 abilities. Here he is coming in at number 2 with utter control of his car. He gets one of the prettiest, calmest traps of the ball right here, brings it straight onto the ground, and then makes 2 pro players look completely silly, deer in the headlights. I mean, just watching the control he has of this ball, it wasn't a terrible touch from a defender, but the trap immediately sucking one in and then immediately making Zane Jackie, who we know is a great player, look like he has no idea what he's doing.
I gotta say, one of the dirtiest dangles I have ever seen, but we're gonna go to the opposite end of the spectrum and finish it off with the Miho sandwich, the 5th and the 1st place spot. This was one of the cleanest double taps I've seen. Again, this team working together so well, the communication, look at the spread out on the field. They have every facet of this pitch covered, but a missed touch from Timmy allows the opponents to set that out beautifully for Miho. And look at this control. That was confidence getting that second touch.
Absolutely no hesitation in him, just moving his car around, maneuvering, and the air roll at the very end to get the perfect touch towards the net.
Can we mention that was also part of that reverse sweep against Take 3? This team, Selfless, is just going off, and I honestly can't wait to see more from them. I expect to see one of the 3 at least in our next top 5 from NA when we recap next week, but man, those are just incredible. I love these high-octane plays.
I mean, you really can't beat it. These players thinking on the fly, and the fact that we've seen so many Game 5s too, these players must be mentally drained by the end of it, and they're still giving us these high, just skilled plays to be able to showcase to you guys.
But that was it for North America, so we're gonna head that one right back over to the desk.
Thanks so much, Leaf. As you would expect, our team that is 4-0 in North America is all over the top of our top 5 plays. These guys just lighting it up with so much exciting action in week number 2, but week number 3 is not going to disappoint. We have so much in store for you here, so we're going to have Rocket League action all day.
And the story of week 3 again will be Selfless playing 2 matches. Their final match is against G2, the only game for them that day. That one should be great. It could be Selfless at 5-0, trying to clinch a number 1 seed.
Yeah, we're only going to have 2 undefeated teams next week if NRG and either Selfless or G2 win. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Huge match for Selfless.
Going to be some crazy action. Cannot wait for that 5th series of the day. But that does do it for our North America recap. When we come back, we're going to hop the pond and do it again. It's your European recap coming up after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Back to overtime, where we just got done talking about North America and what happened in week 2 of league play. Now we're going to hop the pond, go over to Europe, do the exact same thing. We got a European on the desk to help us go through all this action. Guys, so North America, we had the reverse sweep again, and we're like, oh my goodness, we've had 3 reverse sweeps in 3 days. And then the very first match, Final Carpet and Shogun are like, oh, maybe we'll have another reverse sweep. Wouldn't that be crazy? And then it actually happened.
Yeah, to no other than the Leftovers, who reverse sweeped the world champions in week number 1 in every single series that they played going to Game 5.
Yeah, everything they do seems to be going to Game 5 right now. The Leftovers, I I must apologize, especially to you, Snasky. Half an hour before your game against Secrecy, I changed my pick to Secrecy. I deserve what happened to me on that one, but that was so well played by them coming back into that series.
Yep, no, talking about leftovers versus Secrecy here, I was right there with you. I was like, I'm thinking I'm going to change the pick, and I was like, no, I'll have faith. And it paid off here as, oh my goodness, this whole series.
Yeah, the whole reverse sweep. It looked like Team Secrecy had this in the bag, but something in the leftovers just prevents them from losing in a Game 5 situation.
Yeah, well, what happened is in the first 2 games, actually, Team Secrecy had 21 shots compared to the leftovers 9. Their shooting accuracy was awful all weekend from Team Secrecy. And as soon as we got to Game 3, where that was the first time the leftovers actually started to outshoot Team Secrecy, it completely went into the other direction. That third game was 5-2. And we saw from Sicky throughout this entire series just how accurate he is.
Sicky, exactly right. Sicky, a player, again, we talk about him time and time again. He made it to the first World Championship on Team Mockit. On the second time he made it as Precision Z. This is a guy who's been around, played in these big moments, and in this game, he kept the leftovers in it and helped them retain their undefeated record and complete that reverse sweep over Team Secrecy. And I thought Team Secrecy, they did have some good moments though, especially Metsonaris. He scored, I think he went 4 goals, 1 assist. He played really well, and Magnus also working well together with him. And a lot had some really impressive touches just to kind of throw off the offense, always getting that touch that allows his teammates to stay on offense. But in the end, the leftovers, they are just too clutch.
Yeah, they certainly are. Team Secrecy, they gave space to the leftovers to come back into the matchup. The leftovers, they didn't even take the space. They completely blew the door down, went forward. Now 3-0 in the league.
3-0. The big question in overtime last week was, are the leftovers for real? And I'm just going to put this out there, guys. They are for real.
Yeah, well,
they are absolutely for real.
They're second in the world in shooting percentage, first in save percentage at 76.1, and they're second in the world in goals per game, which is crazy. So they, on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball, they're performing.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it's a team, we have a lot of issues with some teams out there where they'll commit to going for consistent passing plays. They'll commit to always trying to hit the ball long, follow up. This is a team that can do everything. We've seen Farah go for those dribbling plays. We saw Sicky this week just pounding the ball down the end, and we saw during the qualifiers how well Snasky can play with the long balls. This is a team that can do everything, and it seems to be just the perfect mix.
Yeah, absolutely. The leftovers on fire right now in the beginning of league play, but their opponents, Secrecy, started off the season 0-2, then they went up against Penta, finally getting their win here in the second match of week number 2 of Europe. Good to see Secrecy get the win.
Penta, again, one of these teams that snuck into league play. Team Secrecy going into the league, they were pegged, I think it was 3rd in EU at the time.
Yes.
So they were playing quite well, but they've had a little bit of a rough start, but this was a big win for them.
Yeah, certainly was. Penta came into this one with Mummy Snow replacing Pondex. And honestly, Mummy Snow did not look like he was completely out of position on this one, but this was not Team Penta that we saw coming into this one. Yes, you brought Mummy Snow in. Yes, he played correctly. But at the end of the day, that's not the team you entered here with. And they just looked like a very good solo standard team rather than an RLCS caliber team.
Well, you could tell just from the positioning a lot of times on both defense and offense. Mummy Snow going for the same ball as his teammates a lot of the time. And that just comes from not playing with your teammates all the time, because at this level, you are forced to play so incredibly fast and make decisions before you can even communicate a lot of times. And so getting used to how your teammates play, position is critical. So Mummy Snow, I think he did the job of a sub. He came in and he gave Penta a chance to win it, a chance to compete. But in the end, it just was too much for them to overcome, and Team Secrecy was able to get that win.
Yeah, they definitely had an opportunity there. Secrecy getting the win, Penta not able to quite pull it off, and as they've went up to face against Pocket Aces, kind of the same story again. Rough week here for Penta as they drop both their matches.
In Pocket Aces, this is one of those teams. This is the roster. Pashy, Violent Pandy. Pashy is the guy Gibbs picked to be the MVP for EU, and Violent Panda and Pashy, they made it to they finished second place in the world last season. So these guys with just Set now instead of Devo, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they certainly are, but they did make this one pretty difficult for themselves at times, not really going in and annihilating the Penta Sports team like we expected them to. Pocket Aces, Not as impressive this week, but it is still a win, and they still remain undefeated in the EU League.
Yeah, but they had that game number 1. They lost 5-1. Penta smashed them pretty good. It wasn't looking great for Pocket Aces, but again, that's one of those situations where Penta, they had already played a series versus Team Secrecy. They were warmed up. Pocket Aces had to come in and try to perform, and they got off to a little bit of a slow start, but then in game 3, they smashed them 5-0 and ended up closing out the series. And really all members contributing, but especially Violent Panda. 3 goals, 5 assists. This guy, he still has it. There was one play where he was air rolling all around. I think it was the last second goal where they were already guaranteed the win, but he had a nasty, nasty freestyle redirect to put in the goal. And so Violent Panda, Pesci, these guys up with Shawset now, they're so good.
And they are now tied in the league for first place at the 3-0 as they got the win there, and then they continued on in that fashion to completely just steamroll through Kaunos in a 3-0 for our 4th match of the day. Rough stuff there for Kaunos.
Yeah, this was a tough series for Kaunos. They struggled to get anything going.
Yeah, they certainly did. We're seeing now Violent Panda and Pesci, they're experienced together. They know how to play together. It was a case of last season, maybe Devo overshadowed them, but they're showing how much of a good duo they are. That shot from Pesci that we just saw right there, unbelievable from him, just showing off that mechanical skill. We always talk about how good he is mentally. That right there is how good he is at just playing with his thumbs.
Yeah, there's just such good awareness. And then Violent Panda again. This is that shot I was talking about. Look at that ball. He puts it on net. That was absolutely insane control from Violent Panda. He finished out this series. Out of the 6 goals that Pocket Aces scored, Violent Panda scored 4 of them. He also had the assists on the other 2, so 100% goal participation for Violent Panda. He really stepped up for Pocket Aces this week.
Yeah, Shawset was actually very quiet throughout that series, but it was a case of the duo. They didn't need Shawset to play that one. He just sort of played himself backwards. The duo was constantly finding each other, even coming up with incredible solo plays. And that's what ended up happening. A 3-0 sweep, Pocket Aces looking good.
Now Kaunos, same sort of story as Penta here as they go up against Mockit Aces. Both of these teams dropping both of their series in this day, which is not a good story for them, but good for Mockit as they really needed this win.
Yeah, this was the final series of the day. Mockit eSports was the extreme favorite in this series. Everybody thought, me included, thought Mockit was going to come in and just smash Kaunos, but right out of the gate, Kaunos stole 2 games and was on the verge of sweeping Mockit.
Yeah, at this point right here, when they were 2 games down, I thought that was it. They're completely out of position to try and get a top 2 finish. Instead, they managed to come back from it, played so well. Look at this goal right here. K-Dop coming in huge with his mechanics, and they managed to put themselves still in the race. They are still trying to fight for this.
The Mockit that we thought we knew showed up in game number 3, and they just started demolishing K-Dop and Fairy Peak. These guys just went off. We talk about them as potentially the best duo in Europe, and they really proved it. Fairy Peak had a whopping 1.6 goals per game average this week. And second place, guess who it was? It's K-Dop at 1.2. So this week, K-Dop and Fairy Peak. Yeah, well, I didn't think you would get it right.
Of course I get it, man. The main problem that has been here for Mockit so far is the fact of they are easily the best duo in Europe, as far as I'm concerned. The problem is this isn't 2s. They've been playing 3s. They've sort of struggled during the RLCS to get that duo to work together. You know, Mystic's been playing really well, but it's a different scenario for them, and now it looks like they've finally started to get it right. Very scared for the teams that they've got to take on in the future.
It's because Mystic's using the breakout. He needs to go back to using the Dominus, I think.
Well, the Europe is such an Octane-dominated scene. It's kind of cool. I like to see that they were not playing just the straight Dominus or straight Octane cards. But we can take a look at the European standings here. Kind of 2 categories of teams right now. The teams who are undefeated and then everybody else who has just the 1-win category. Still anybody's game here in Europe.
And it's so difficult. You try to look at, who has an easy rest of their schedule. Nobody. All these teams are so good. Like the Leftovers, they took down Flipside, they took down Northern, but they still have to go up against Pocket Aces and Mockit. So it's not going to be easy for anyone moving forward. I'll be surprised if there is an undefeated team in Europe.
Yeah, we've only got 2 remaining here. We've confirmed that we're only going to have 1 as soon as we have Pocket Aces and the Leftovers playing against each other. So can one of those continue onwards? Maybe. Leftovers, they've got rid of the 2 biggest giants in here, Northern Gaming and Flipside. Pocket Aces still yet to play against them.
It's going to be a
Who
big
knows?
series.
We'll see. I'm excited to see when that series happens. It's going to be great. But for right now, let's go over and see the top 5 plays from Europe. It was an exciting week of action, and it'll be Leaf and Lawler calling these plays here. Guys, take it away.
When that screen comes over to me, you know what's about to happen. We're about to get some intense plays for you guys. We just went over North America before, and now we have Europe, and they had an abundance of great plays themselves. We talk about duos, reverse sweeps, and just these team plays that are coming in. Freaky decided to do a little differently. We saw him kind of as that third man a lot of the times, trying to break in with Killer on offense. Didn't change here. Freaky came in with a beautiful pass out to Killer. Look how fast that reached the center, and Killer's just been ready for a pass since day one.
Right. Pondex was out, so they needed somebody to stand up, and Killer was that man, helping out his team in every way possible. But too many times do we focus on these offensive plays. Look at this defensive play from Shawset. The ball barely missing the net. I don't know how he saved this after that shot. He literally scoops it out and pinches it to his teammates, who then take one pass to a shot, immediately counterattack. Shogun said from east to west, it doesn't matter. Look at this goal coming out. Perfect placement on every single moment.
That little ice cream scoop out to that counterattack was absolutely incredible. But mind games. This has been a part of the meta for a little bit now, and it didn't stop here. Violent Panda puts a very, very rough spot for the defenders, destroying Freaky's mind, and then getting a flick out of the reach of Mummy as that last defender, and he has all the time in the world to be able to put that one into the net.
Yeah, to do that at the time that he does, right in front of the net, there's people approaching, and he just stays posed. He's not going to get compromised the shot by doing it. But Pashy saw a little bit something from Sicky last week. We saw him sitting on the wall, and he's like, you know what? Gibbs has been talking about how I can be an MVP because I'm a captain. Look at my plays. Waits does a 180 off that back wall and puts a shot perfectly back inside past that last defender. The awareness is unbelievable from Pashy.
That 180 no-scope into the net, absolutely incredible play. Could have been a #1 play, but unfortunately for Pashy, that's going to go to Fairy Peak. At the desk, they were talking about this duo right here, K-Dop and Fairy Peak. During a reverse sweep, we're able to pull this off. One thing that really needs to point it out now is K-Dop, when he came off the wall from the defensive positioning, had 24 boost left. 24 and
boost
he was
go.
up at the front saying, you see me? You see me? Fairy Peak saw him, delivered the pass, while not the strongest shot, was able to sink into the net.
Well, a lot of it had to do because, like you said, he only had 24 boost. You can see him there. He's barely feathering it, using every last amount that he can just to make sure that shot's in. And even though the placement, what was truly important about that entire play.
I've always said it is boost is a crutch. Look at what the pros can do with only 24 boost. Able to get a goal, an insane passing play in the air, 10 years up before that pass even came to him, and delivering into that net. But that was it for our top 5 plays for Europe. And we're gonna send it right back to Wavepunk.
Thanks so much, Leaf. Man, smash banging plays there from Europe here. And as we look forward to week #3, I can only assume it's just going to get more and more intense as this action goes on.
Yeah, this one, for me, one big series I want to watch, besides the Leftover series, is that Northern Gaming Mockit eSports series. Northern, one of those teams that I had, I was thinking they were going to be #2. They lost to the Leftovers. This, if they can get that win over Mockit, would be huge for them.
Yeah, I'm going to have to completely agree with you on that one. Northern Gaming and Mockit eSports, they are both chasing the Leftovers and Pocket Aces. A loss there could put them out of the running for that top 2 position, put them out of the running for automatic qualification for the LAN. Both those teams have to win it. Unfortunately, only one can. Who's it going to be? Oh, we're going to find out early next week as well.
I'm excited to find out. Also, we see the Leftovers going to be taking on Penta. And as a team gets undefeated every single matchup, it's like which team's going to play upset? Which team will play spoiler to that perfect record?
Will Leftovers go to Game 5, I guess?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yes,
they're going up against Penta, so Penta 5, probably. I would guess so.
Yeah.
It's been fun here. That wraps up our wrap-up of Europe, and it's going to be a lot of fun as the show continues here. When we come back, we've got Snasky on the line. I cannot wait to talk to him. He's standing by, ready to go. It's going to be a great time there, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Snasky. Gentlemen, welcome back to Overtime. We just got done recapping Europe, and it's been a good show so far, but the best is yet to come. We have Snasky on the line all the way from Europe. Snasky, my man, how you doing?
I'm good, dude. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's good to see you. How was Sunday? How did you guys feel going up all the way to 3-0?
It's pretty good. It was not what
Yeah.
we expected, certainly. So,
Yeah.
it's fine.
I want to ask you more about that later, but first off, I just want to kind of like just for people that don't know who you are, who are you? How did you get into Rocket League? Like, tell me your story, man.
Basically, I got into sports when I was a very young kid. So, and with that came computer games, basically. And me and my friends was like, yeah, this new Rocket League thing, it looks pretty cool. So we decided to get it, and it was only 20 euros, so it's pretty logical to get. And we tried it out, and shortly after I met ELMP, all amp. And yeah, the rest of the story everybody knows.
Yeah, from there, for you guys formed up on Supersonic Avengers, one of the longest standing Rocket League teams. That's actually really fun. That was basically how I got into Rocket League too, was some friends we were all like, we want to play together. We want to have a game that we can all like, play competitively. And this dude's like, here, play Rocket League. It's only $20. So I was like, okay, I'll try it out. And I never got as good as you did, clearly. But yeah, that was
Still have time.
It's fun. The price point of the game is a huge draw for it. So talk to me about Supersonic Avengers, then Reunited. Like, you guys stuck together for a really, really long time. Like, what was that roster? What was that all about?
It was basically at the beginning, it was me and the LMP, as you said. Like, we got left by Greasy and Maestro. And then we found, what's his face? Doomsy. Yeah, exactly. We found Doomsy, and we were like, it was great fun. And at that time, individual skill was enough to bring you to the top. But as the time went on, we didn't really click well as a team. So we decided like it wasn't the best anymore. We'll try something new. And certainly, it's obviously only me that did very well in that team. So that sucks.
Yeah. No, you guys stuck together for a long time, and you kind of developed a hardcore fan base of people that really, really enjoyed you guys. And I think that's one of the things about esports that sometimes gets lost with the way that roster shuffles work, that like the top team will stick together and then everybody else splits up, right? Is that no one gets to root for teams, but like the Supersonic Avengers had fans.
Yeah, but that's probably mainly Doomsy. Like, Doomsy is one of the sweethearts in this community, and he's an amazing guy. It was an absolutely blast playing with him, but he's probably the main reason that we had so many fans. But it's great. I still have many fans because of that. So I mean, PR wise, it was an amazing move by me and Amp.
Yeah, sticking up with Doomsy, and he's got quite the successful YouTube channel too. If you guys haven't seen Doomsy stuff, you should definitely check that out. But so, moving on, we talk about Supersonic Avengers Reunited. So you guys split all up, and now you're on this team called The Leftovers that many people didn't really know what to think of, but now everybody's talking about it. Like, tell me the story of The Leftovers. Like, give me the play-by-play of how you guys all came together.
Well, so it's basically me and Siggy. We were like very, very early after RLCS 2. We were like, we want to make a team, but we wasn't sure who our third was. So basically, we had to choose between like Pondex, Bluey, and a few others. So when that didn't work out because of contracts and such, we were basically left with a very few options. So we decided to try with Continuum. Didn't really work. Then I was like, we need to get him out because he's a very good player. But people kept telling me that Farah was at this star, like an unknown star. So I was like, okay, Farah, do you want to join? Apparently he already found a team, but he saw this as a chance and chose us. Over the next week, we kind of had like a trial period with the three guys, and we decided to stick with Farah. And it's worked out pretty good so far.
Yeah, I'll say it has. My goodness, like Farah has come out of the woodwork as such as this quality player. Like, I feel like if we gave out like a Rookie of the Year award, Farah would be in the top of the running right now as a player that everyone. I had no idea who this guy was, and then everyone remembers the Spanish casters calling his juke moves in that first week, as he was able to get the plays there on Flipside. Yeah.
Yes, that was amazing.
Yeah, Farah.
He's improved so much over 2 weeks. It's incredible.
Yeah, he's played quite well. So tell me about y'all's mindset going into the beginning of the qualifiers, okay? So you're coming in, not many people maybe expecting much out of you. You expecting a lot out of yourselves. How did it feel pre-qualifiers? Were you expecting to make it in?
Well, yeah, me and Siggy definitely knew that we could make it in, depending on the seeding and such, but we had a pretty good seeding compared to when we formed. Like, I don't know who I have to thank for that, but we got a A seed. So we still had a rough run, but it wasn't too bad. So we knew we could make it in. But after that, like, we decided we'd just first make it in, then we'll try to clinch a top 6 spot at most. But yeah, now it's a different situation.
Yeah, for sure. You guys very well cemented in the top of Europe right now. And like, take me through the emotional roller coaster that has been these 2 weeks of like, I wish we could be in your comms and hear what you guys sounded like as you guys were playing. Cause like 2 reverse sweeps, man.
You really don't want to be in our comms. It's so demoralizing being in our comms because
Really?
I mean, yeah, because Farah is like he's decent at English, but he doesn't really say much. Siki doesn't really say much. So it's mostly just like when we're down 2-0 against Flipside, we go like, yeah, let's reverse sweep Flipside, and then we're like, sure, let's do it just in fun. And the same actually happened against Secrecy. So
Yeah.
I mean, we have a very chilled atmosphere, and I think that kind of helps our play. That we don't really expect too much of us. We just do our best, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, that mental game really strong. So Siki and Farah, you're telling me they don't talk very much. Does that mean that you kind of drive the communication?
No, not at all. I mean, when we actually play, they talk. They say what they should. Siki talks more than me probably, but like in between games, they're like dead silence if there's nothing to be said. Just sitting there.
Makes sense. So what is kind of the mentality right now of the leftover squad? Like, you guys, you've beaten 3 of the huge threats that were in your way already. Like, how do you feel right now looking forward at league play? Because it could be easy for many people to kind of like take a step back and be like, we got this from now, right?
Yeah, we're not like that at all. We're still thinking we're the underdog. Like, basically we didn't expect to beat any team. There was maybe Kaunos, Penta-ish we expected to beat, but the rest was kind of 50-50, I guess. So we're still very laid back and don't really think we've secured anything. So we still take it 1 game at a time.
Alrighty, well, it sounds, so we know that you guys, you love Rocket League, right? That's what everybody knows you as a Rocket League player, right? But you're also a person that does other things. You're big into like working out and stuff, right? So do these two things go together? Like, where did that passion for working out come from?
Well, that, as I said at the start, it's like when I was a kid, I used to do sports all the time, and it's just like as I grew older, sports kind of became boring. So I saw some of my friends, they started to work out at the gym, and they looked amazing. I was like, I want to look like that. When I take off my shot, I want to get all the e-grills. So that's basically how it started. Yeah.
So you got into working out because you saw some of your fans who were fit?
No, friends.
Friends. Oh, okay.
My friends. No, my fans. No, my fans.
I was gonna be amazed. I was amazed if it was like, oh, I saw people on Twitter, and I'm like, I gotta get into working out now that this is a huge part of your life. Friends. That makes sense there. Cool.
No, yeah, that would be awesome. But
what is kind of the time split there between working out and being a Rocket League pro?
Well, I mean, working out is really just like going to the gym for maybe 1 or 2 hours, like as many days a week as you can fit in. Like, I have a lot of time, so I can do it all the time. But next to that comes all the nutrition and all the proper food you need to eat. So that's probably what takes up the most time, to be honest. Okay.
And is there like a similarity in mentalities between the working out and the practicing for being a pro? Like, do these two things help each other out?
Oh, definitely. I mean, they're both very much about like improving all the time. Like, even when you have a hard time seeing improvements, just like improving still, you know? In Rocket League, it's like when we get to this level, there's really not much to improve. It's about all the small things. And in working out, when you've worked out for like 3 years like me, it's very hard to see improvements on your body and to kind of improve your physique when you're natural, at least. So there's like that mindset of setting small goals and then reaching them once at a time, and the hard dedication of work, of course, and yeah, basically just the mindset of improving yourself all the time.
That's fantastic. That's really cool to hear that like the things that you love in life all kind of like mesh together and make things better. So we're running out of time here. I got one more question for you. James Bott wanted me to ask this. Why are you so snazzy?
I don't think I am, to be honest. I don't know where people got that from. It's probably because it rhymes with my name.
I think you're pretty snazzy, man. I think it's just because of how snazzy of a person you are. You know.
Well, to be fair, I didn't even know what snazzy meant once it was said, so that's how snazzy I am, right?
That works out for me. Well, Snasky, thank you so much for joining us, dude. I really enjoyed having you, and good luck in the RLCS, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That is Snasky there. Thank you all for tuning into this segment. It was great to talk to him. When we come back, it's going to be Gibbs, some of your other favorite talent up here, just debating some Rocket League trivia. It's going to be so much fun. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Overtime, guys. I am Gibbs, not Wave, a brand new host here because we're doing RLCS trivia, and honestly, I would just win the segment if I was not the host. So we have 3 contestants here. Starting on my right, we have the one and only, the one with more ink on his body than I have ever used in my life, Lawler.
You're not Wave Buck.
That hurts. That hurts. On my left, we have the one that survived the nautical mess that is Team Rocket, Mega Shogun.
Seriously, I've got less followers than everyone. Help me out here.
And finally, the one furthest away from me, last and certainly least, Findable Carpet.
How's it going, Gibbs? Hi, Gibbs.
Hi.
Hi, Gibbs.
How are you? Anyway, guys, we are going to be asking questions. They will write answers on their whiteboards. Closest answer wins the most points. But honestly, if it's a good answer, who knows? Maybe they'll get some bonus points as well. So we're going to start off, guys. Erase your boards. The very first question. Who had the highest winning percentage in RLCS Season 2 League play in individual games? It can be multiple players. Now, of course, guys...
It's players, not teams.
Players.
Okay.
An individual player. Now, of course, guys, you can play at home because you'll probably beat these 3 knuckleheads. And honestly, I think this is going to go awful for them because they will have no idea.
This is surprisingly difficult.
Exactly. That's the point of trivia, Carpet. There's no participation trophies here. Looks like Carpet is ready, so I'm going to go to Carpet first. What's the answer? Say it out loud, Carpet.
Cooks here. I'm going to go with Cooks here.
Shogun is ready. I'm not going to say the answer until the end.
Jacob.
Jacob. All right. And finally, Lawler.
Still upside down. Northern Gaming.
Maestro. You guys are all wrong. The answer is actually Jazer. Had the highest individual win percentage. He played in week 2. He won 66.67% of his games. Lawler was the closest, though, so he gets 5 points.
How? Feels good.
How?
Better than you, that's how.
Carpet, you get 2 points because you were the next closest. And Shogun, surprisingly, with energy, they did not have a great win percentage. You come in last with 0 points. He's very sad. He's very sad. But we're going to continue because we're just going to keep going on. Second question, guys. Erase those boards. I think they're all erased by now. Who had the most assists per game in RLCS Season 2 League play? Now, of course, assist is kind of a weird stat because it's based on whoever scored the goal, their last touch, then reverse back 4 to 5 seconds, and if a teammate has touched it by then, it'll count as an assist. So sometimes this stat can be a little misleading. We have some answers already, though. And I'm just going to say, Lawler, you might actually know this answer, but don't change your answer at this point. Findable Carpet, we'll start with you once again.
Jacob.
Wrong. Shogun.
Jacob.
Wrong. Lawler.
Hopefully right this time. Mike rules.
He wasn't even in RLCS Season 2.
Oh, Season 2. I didn't hear Season 2. I heard League play, period.
Lawler gets -10. The actual answer was Lethemir. In week 1, had 1 assist per game.
Why'd you think I knew that?
Because Lethemir's your boy. Anyway, Jacob did come in second, so both Carpet and Shogun get 5 points.
Yes.
I didn't hear Season 2.
Mike rules. And this is why everyone at home is probably winning right now. Give yourself 20 points, everyone in Twitch chat.
Oh my God.
Well done.
Oh man, this is gonna be a long segment. Next question here. Most Savior medals in RLCS Season 2 League play. Now, of course, Savior medals, we talk about these a lot, where it's actually 3 saves per game. It's very similar to a hat trick, where there's 3 goals for a hat trick. There's also playmakers that are 3 assists per game. So if you ever hear him saying, oh, he just picked up his Savior medal, that's his 3rd save of the game. You can get multiple in a game, but it's extremely rare. So let's see what these answers are. I'm actually going to bring up all of the answers here because I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. But we are going to start again with Carpet because he is ready first.
I'm confident.
Are you?
I'm not always right, but I'm confident. I'm going with Pluto. My boy Pluto.
Lawler. It's not right, but it's fine. Sicky. See, now I'm going way down this list. This is gonna be rough. All right, Shogun.
Jacob.
Is Jacob every one of your answers so far? I like the idea, so I'm going to give Shogun 10 points because Jacob is a pretty nice guy. All year wrong. Turbo Pulsa was actually the correct answer. He had 9 Savior Medals on Oh My Dog, the Kingslayers. Usually one of the teams that's doing worse, a lot more shots get on their net. So he was the actual answer. I don't even see Sicky on my list. So Lawler gets 1 point. Carpet, you said Pluto? He was like 8th. So I'll give you 5 points for that.
That's top 10.
Well done.
That's top 10.
So we're going to take a little break and see what our stand-ins are as I go back to my questions. What do we got here? Let's look. Shogun at 15, Fightable Carpet at 12, and Lawler might be paying for dinner right now at -4. A little rough for Lawler.
This is the best thing ever.
Helps out listening.
Just text Mike Rules. I'm sure he'll console you.
Yeah. Mike rules. All right, anyway.
Here's season 2.
4th question. We are moving on to the RLCS Season 2 LAN. How many individual games did North America win against Europe? Oh. It's not many because they had a rough time in Season 2 LAN. It was rough because Europe, home turf, and they wanted to win. And Shogun's ready because he's a Europe boy. All right, Shogun, what's your answer?
Wait, what was the question again?
Not Jacob. North America wins, individual wins
I put
versus
5,
Europe.
1 for each letter in the word Jacob.
All right, I like it. Carpet, what do you got?
I got 9. Take most of them, probably take 3.
Lawler.
Also 9.
Wow, both of you are exactly right.
What? What? Yes.
So Carpet and Lawler both get 20 points.
Out of the negative!
Shogun gets -5 points for his answer because the Jacob bid is over. Yes, only 5 points. Not 10, Shogun, but 5. All right, here we go. Next question, guys. We're moving on. Who had the best goals per average at the Season 2 Live Finals?
Goals per game, that is.
Yes, I'm sorry. Goals per game average in Season 2 Live Finals. Now, of course, some teams played a lot less games than others, so it could be
Gibbs.
I'm just saying it could be an extremely successful player. It could also be kind of a rough player. You never know. Who carried the hardest, basically, at Season 2 LAN? Lawler is ready, and I believe Lawler will get this right. I believe in Lawler. Lawler, what do you got?
You said that last time and it was terrible.
That's
but
true.
Rizzo, what a shot.
What a shot.
Wrong. Carpet.
Garrett with the G. Big ol' oh my Garrett.
Shogun, what do you got?
Mockit.
Not Jacob, surprisingly. Carpet is right with Garrett getting 1 goal per game, carrying Orbit all the way to 7th place.
That's what I'm talking about, Gibbs. You know, I gave you the one in the 50-50. I expect you to give it to me here.
But Garrett played phenomenally throughout his 2 series, and then they failed and got 7th place. Carpet, 10 points.
Stats. Stats are stats, man.
Yeah, it's true. Shogun, 5 points. Lawler, 5 points because I'm feeling
I
generous.
don't like the way this is going.
Thank you.
All right, we got two more questions here. 2 more questions. Next question. How long was the longest overtime in LAN history?
Lawler, you better get this right.
Lawler knows the answer because he kind of heard it earlier, but he knew it anyway. You knew it anyway.
I knew it anyway. I also casted it. Come on.
You did cast it. So, of course, the longest overtime was the Flipside versus Mockit, Game 1 of the 2nd series in the Grand Finals. Mockit actually wound up winning the game, but then Flipside won 4 in a row and won the Live Finals. Shogun, you seem confident. Let's see what your answer is.
Well, I was in the crowd with Wavepunk starting the 10-9-8-7-6 sort of chance with the rest of the Team Rocket Boys, so I'm going to go 7 minutes, 31 seconds.
Okay. Carpet, quickly.
5 minutes and 43 seconds.
And Lawler has the right answer. Boom! 7, I can't even read that. What is it?
770.
That is correct. Lawler gets 20 points. The rest of you get -5.
That's like asking me what the capital of England is. Of course he's going to know.
Do you?
But you didn't know because you were counting it down. You should have known.
Capital is wherever
anyway,
I am, okay?
Let's look at our final standings. Findable Carpet with 42. The meaning of life. I can't believe he won.
You can't even count that high.
Oh, wait. We have a recount. Recount! Lawler! Lawler gets the win at 41. Carpet is going to be extremely mad at production. And Final Carpet 37.
Why?
And Shogun 10 points. Unfollow him on Twitter. And that's been our RLCS Overtime, guys. It's been a blast here. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be back in 73 hours for North America action. Tweet at RLCS, hashtag RLCS, cheer on your favorite teams. And of course, Oceania is starting next Saturday as well, so make sure to look out for that. But it's been fun, guys. I hope you enjoyed our trivia segment, and thanks for watching, guys. See you later.
Let me do this.